Hey, it's Amanda and Brandon Neely, and welcome to Grandma's Wealth Wisdom. Obviously, we are not Grandma. I don't look like her. You don't look like her. Not
Thank
yet,
you.
anyway.
Hey.
Maybe eventually.
Maybe that would be a compliment to look like Grandma.
Anyway.
Don't dig yourself a hole.
We do follow her time-tested wisdom about managing cash flow and leveraging assets. So today we're going to talk about banks and real estate investors and how the two combine or not.
Yeah. So with real estate investors, you're some of the most people that are impacted by the banking industry the most. I mean, you rely on banks for like loans to go purchase money or purchase properties, and you rely on banks to like hold your escrow money for you or receive your payments from your tenants and then pay, your loan or whatever it is. You got to save up those security deposits. You got to pay on your property taxes. The banks help you do all those things. And we're in a pretty good environment right now. Banks have been seen to have a pretty good light for about 10 years now. And it might be hard to think about this, but maybe it's one of the most important things to think about is that
10 years ago, it wasn't like that.
Right. What if things change? What if there's a change in interest rates and all of a sudden the loans that you're taking from banks are at 5, 10, 15% interest like they maybe were in the 80s? What if, with the interest rates on the flip side, what if you get 0% interest on your escrow accounts that are with the bank? And that can be really hard to think about and maybe slightly embarrassing if you're getting no growth on those escrow funds. And one of the lessons that is taught so much in business and totally applies to real estate investors is to make sure your business is not dependent on anyone. That you can run your business, you can make sure that it's profitable no matter what happens to X, Y, or Z. So we used to own a coffee shop. We outsourced our baking, right, to somebody else. We need to make sure that we weren't dependent on that baker and that if the baker closed tomorrow, we would be able to totally function with our business. Think about this with real estate investing and banks. What if that bank closed tomorrow? What if that bank called your loan tomorrow like they could? What if that bank decided we just lost your escrow account, you don't have access to it right now? What would happen to your real estate business? Would you be able to continue or would you have to file bankruptcy and look for something else to be doing? That's what we wanted to really hone in on today is how much the real estate and investing and growing your wealth that way relies on banks and how you can actually reduce your reliance on banks and what kind of benefits that could have for you and actually set you head and shoulders above your peers who might stay reliant on those banks over time.
Well, and I think banks love real estate investors. Banks are the most profitable business
one of the most profitable
in the world. I mean, you think about it. Are they using their money? They're usually somebody else's money, and they are getting the interest on that. And so I think that in itself is why wouldn't you be in that business of banking if you could control that?
And you're kind of getting ahead of yourselves. We do have to give you full disclosure. We are not real estate investors yet. We hope to be in the future, and we're actually in the process of purchasing a property right now as we are recording this video. And yes, we're getting a loan to make that purchase. But we did
partial. We're using it.
Yeah, we did
not all the way.
Right, we did save up and we're doing a down payment and that kind of thing. But our lens about real estate's a little different because we believe one of the best decisions we made was back in 2007. We decided not to buy a home. And
we were so close to
we were super close. We had toured around a bunch of places, a lot that were pre-construction or being built. And we just decided we would rather start a business than have to pay that mortgage, right? Than be slaves to our jobs in order to make those mortgage payments. We'd rather have the independence and the freedom. And we're really glad we did that because we learned a ton through starting that business that we wouldn't have learned had we stayed at our cubicle jobs so that we could pay the mortgage. Being mortgage free was really good for us during that time and that season in our life.
And it was 2007. If anybody remembers, 2008 was not very far away from that. And some things happened in real estate there.
Yeah, well, and we started our business in 2011 in that same neighborhood where we had been looking to buy a home. It was one of the fastest growing neighborhoods in the nation back in 2007. And getting to know the people that did buy homes at that point just made us even more confident. We made the best decision for us at that time. But again, we're getting into real estate now. We are in the process of purchasing a property. We're in that we're under contract right now. So it's not like we're totally against real estate. We actually think real estate is a great way to build wealth. Just doing it the smartest way that you can. So and part of that is why real estate is so attractive is because we think there's some nobility to it. Like it's a noble business to be in. You're providing a home for someone. And when people have a safe, comfortable home, that gives them a place to be more confident from, to launch towards dreams, to make things happen. And whether you're in the flipping business and you're flipping the real estate for someone to then have a home, or whether you're buying places and renting them out for someone to have a home, you're providing that place for someone. And hopefully you're making some money on it too, right? But banks know that real estate is a profitable business, that you are probably making some money doing your real estate. And so banks think, how can I get more of that money? That's what banks do.
How can I get more of that money from us,
right,
as opposed to for you? Right.
So, just think about the difference between the interest you receive on your escrow and the interest you pay on any loans that you have. That difference is exactly what the bank's getting, the profit that they're taking from your real estate endeavors. What if you could reclaim that for yourself? What if you could reclaim even a portion of that for yourself? We did a little bit of math, and let's just say you're able to save up enough that your next real estate purchase, you have $20,000 more to put towards your down payment. So it's $20,000 less that you have to take out in a loan. Over those next 30 years, as you pay down that loan, like if you get a 30-year mortgage or something, you could, if you've got like a 4.75% interest rate, which sometimes they're higher, but let's just say that's what you got, you could save $17,000 because you put that $20,000 in to make that purchase. On the flip side, what if you were able to save up $20,000 in the bank so that then when you need to do a remodel after someone moves out, or you got to replace the roof, or whatever those things are that you have to do, you've got the money there and you don't have to take out a HELOC, a home equity line of credit, or some other kind of line of credit in order to do those improvements. That's the same $17,000 that you could save by financing that yourself rather than taking a loan from the bank to finance those. And maybe, there's other scenarios where this could come into impact, and maybe you're able to do more than 20, or maybe interest rates are, skyrocket to 9, 10, 12% rather than 4.75. That's just going to give you even more and more of a competitive advantage. And if you're doing that and other people aren't, they're paying that $17,000 to the bank that you're keeping for yourself, you think you're going to have a competitive advantage when the next property comes on the market? I would sure hope so, right?
Well, yeah, you have that opportunity cost that you now have opportunity, and it didn't cost you, where they have the cost that it cost them, and they couldn't do that, so you bought the property instead of them.
Yeah. And then, no one knows when the next housing market bubble is going to burst, or if there will be one. Lenders have certainly tightened up a lot more than they had been previously. But even if things stayed the same, would there be some benefit to reducing your dependence on banks? We just showed Most likely, because the roof is going to need to get repaired. Tenants are going to move. You're going to have to do some remodels, that kind of thing. And now you know more to handle the day-to-day business of real estate, but also to set you up for when the next downturn happens. Who do you think is going to benefit most? The people that owe the most money to the bank, or the people that have the most money in the bank or in their own pockets that they can use when the opportunity strikes?
I think the key is control. You want to have more control as the real estate investor, as the business owner. You want to have control. Yeah.
And we're going to put a link in the description of this video where our friend Tim tells his story of, because he had a liquid pool of cash back in 2008, 2007, that time period, he was able to make millions of dollars in real estate as the housing crash happened. And he tells his story in full detail, full disclosure during a podcast episode that we recorded. So check out that link in the show notes. We'll finish with this last question. During the next recession, your bank will still make money. Will you?
To take the first step of reclaiming the banking power for your real estate investment endeavors, download Grandma's Top Tips for an Independent Real Estate. Download Grandma's Top Tips for Independent Real Estate Investing. It's in the links below, and you can also go to grandmaswealthwisdom.com/free. You can find it there as well.
Yeah. Thanks for watching and including us on your unique journey toward a smart, stable financial future. We'll catch you next time with Grandma's Wealth Wisdom.